Hi, I'm Nick Smith, and I'm here with Mayor Ashman for the third annual Bracket Challenge. Last year, we finished about middle of the pack, 29th out of 66. I finished 64th. That's okay.
Well, here's the thing. After we did this last year, we did it on the Monday. On the Tuesday, they announced that that Virginia kid was going to be out for the tournament.
That's true.
And so I did an alternate bracket. My alternate bracket was top 6.
That's true.
I just want to note that I was top 6 in one of my brackets.
And our top 2 spots went to people within the city. We had Ron Kaczmarek from Public Works and Keith Pumphrey from Planning and Code.
Yeah.
Had our 1-2. They were well above everybody else. So
yeah, we're coming after them this year.
Exactly. That's the people to beat right now.
Yeah.
So we've already filled out our round of 64 picks here. Let's talk about the East. Who do you got here? Let's see. You got Duke here beating whoever it is that Duke's going to play.
Yeah. Yeah,
right.
Which is not going to be a shocker to anybody.
Naturally.
Central Florida beating VCU, which is, if you consider 9 beating 8, then that's an upset. But,
yeah.
I say that because you're going to find out that this bracket's very chalky, and so I'm taking every upset I can get.
That's it.
Virginia Tech, we have Maryland. That Maryland, I'm assuming Belmont's going to win, and I see a lot of people calling that as an upset. Belmont might come out and beat Maryland, but I'm giving the Terps the benefit of the doubt here. Part of it's because, even though I didn't go there, my daughter went there, so my money went there. So,
right,
so it's kind of nice cool too.
You've got a headless LSU team beating a very disciplined Yale team here.
Yes, I do,
Yeah.
and I realize that's an iffy game too.
Yeah.
But I went with the bluer of the Bloods.
And then in the battle of Rick Pitino's son versus Rick Pitino's former team, you've got Minnesota.
Yes,
I like
and
that.
we can only hope for those camera shots of Rick Pitino at that game.
Yeah.
They're going to be awesome. Michigan State, Michigan State's a great team.
But they're not going to lose to Bradley.
They're not going to lose to Bradley. They're in a tough bracket because they're in there with Duke, but we'll see what happens.
All right, so let's see what happens. What do you got between Duke and UCF?
Central Florida.
Yeah, in their first at-large bid.
I think it's pretty safe to say Duke is going to move on here.
Reasonable.
Virginia Tech has had a pretty good season. They've had some good wins. I think they're going to pull this one out too.
Yeah.
So we're going to move them forward. I'm giving Maryland again another benefit of the doubt here. The Terps have a good team.
They're a strong team this year.
We just need the coach to put together a good game. So
and a head coach is more than LSU even has. So.
Exactly. And then, no surprise, we're going to go with Michigan State here.
Yeah, Tom Izzo's hard to bet against.
He is.
All right,
great,
so then with a Duke-Virginia Tech matchup.
Yeah, I mean, they've played, their teams familiar with each other. It's hard to go against Duke. Duke is, I think this is, I don't want to spoil it, but I really think this is probably Duke's year.
Well, and so if this goes the way that I think it will, let's see what you put in this line here.
Now, this is where the story ends for Maryland.
Right.
But I will say, and this is a nice little segue, that for those Terp fans out there who are disappointed here, you will get to see a couple of famous ex-Terps at the Gaithersburg Book Festival this year. Walt Williams, who you might remember, and Tony Massenberg have a book on Len Bias, and they're coming to the book festival.
That's actually really cool.
So there you go. There's a little plug.
And so now we've got Tom Izzo, and this is a stat I found out yesterday, that Tom Izzo is 1-11 against Coach K. Do you think he makes it 2?
I think it's 1-12.
Yeah.
But I think this could be the game of the tournament right here.
Yeah.
So we're going to move Duke on to the Final Four, and then let's get to the next bracket.
All right. So no spoilers really. My eventual champion Gonzaga against Syracuse team that is neither here nor there.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen?
And you knew
there?
Syracuse was going to win in that first round. Jim Boeheim never loses in the first round.
It's true.
But the second round is a different story. I think Gonzaga is strong enough to beat Syracuse here. And then Marquette FSU, which is an interesting matchup. I think FSU is coming in kind of hot, even though they just lost to Duke.
See, I'll take Marquette on uniforms alone.
All right, as good as any, when you're doing this.
Right.
But I'm taking FSU as much as a Miami Hurricane fan. That does pain me a little bit.
It's hard to say.
FSU's good. they're really good, and we're going to see actually in the next round. I think they're taking out Gonzaga.
All right, so let's see. This Buffalo team's kind of an enigma here. Like, you know, coming out of Buffalo, but 31-3.
Yeah.
You know, do you think they have what it takes to beat Texas Tech?
Tells you Bobby Hurley's a pretty good recruiter.
That's a thing.
But I think Texas Tech is gonna take this one, and then I think Michigan is gonna beat Nevada, and so that brings up our where are we? The 8 here.
Yeah.
So here's where, as I said, I think FSU is going to come out and end the dream for Gonzaga. It happens to them every tournament.
It really is kind of a trope for them.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a thing. So, and I think Michigan, very strong team.
I can't disagree with that.
And this should be another excellent game, and I really went back and forth on what I thought was going to happen here. But I'm taking FSU. I think FSU is going to get into the Final Four and end up facing Duke.
So now let's head over to the South bracket. What do you think? Who's going to Louisville this year? We've got Virginia, which obviously 1 seed again, and facing another team that sounds like a publishing company. And so you've got them coming out, and then you've got them against the winner of Mississippi, Oklahoma. I love the SEC pick here, but who's going to win? Who's going to win this matchup?
You know, I just think this is a year of redemption for UVA. This could be a case of me making, the insanity of making the same mistake over and over again. But I
think you and the rest of the country.
They're a great team.
Yeah.
They're a great team. So I'm taking UVA to move on. And I also think, the dream, the Cinderella dream for UC Irvine is about to end here with Wisconsin.
That's reasonable. That's
moving on. Purdue is a really strong team. They've had some really, really big wins against good ranked teams.
Oh, this is true.
And I don't, as great as Jay Wright and Villanova have been to winning 2 out of the last 3 years, this isn't their year.
No, so not going to happen, huh?
It's going to end for them here.
All right. And then, so this, for me, this is my matchup of the tournament. These teams have been the worst teams against the spread, which naturally means very close games. So this could be a real fun game to watch, the Cincinnati-Iowa game. We both have Cincinnati coming out of it, and you've got them facing a really motivated Tennessee team,
yes.
coming off a pretty big, embarrassing SEC tournament loss. What do you think is going to happen in Columbus?
Tennessee just can't beat Auburn. They can't get over that one little hump. But they've had a great year, and I think they're going to move on here. So I'm taking Tennessee.
That's a strong pick. So now, back up here, we've got a 1 seed and a 5 seed.
Yeah. Yeah, but again, insanity or brilliance, I'm going with UVA here. And
it's hard to pick against them, especially against a Wisconsin team that I think could go out against Oregon.
Yeah, well, they could. It depends. On and off, they've had some good wins, too.
That's true. And this has the potential to probably be the lowest scoring game of the tournament. This could go 21-23.
True.
What do you think is going to happen here?
I'm going with Purdue.
All right.
The mild upset, 2 beating a 3, 3 beating a 2, and then UVA and Purdue. Again, UVA. I think it's time that this is the redemption year for UVA.
This is offense versus defense all the way.
Yeah.
More points wins.
Yeah.
All right.
UVA is so good.
So now we've got North Carolina probably moving on against Iona, safe-ish bet.
Yes.
Against a good 8-9 matchup here, but what do you think is going to happen with this?
I think UNC is, to no one's surprise, going to move forward and go very far in this tournament.
Hard to bet against them.
This is 3 ACC 1 seeds is a unbelievable occurrence.
That is a good point. Yeah.
And frankly, not a spoiler alert, I have them all going into the Final Four. So
not bad. So I want to just point out here, this line here on a 4-13. Now, I don't have Kansas coming past here because they definitely are good at losing in the back half of every weekend. But you got Northeastern against an Auburn team that I think hit 2,000 3-pointers during the SEC tournament. Like, it was bananas.
Right.
So what do you think is going to go on here?
I think Auburn's going to keep the dream alive at this point. Yeah.
All right.
Yep. So we'll write them in, and again, Houston's coming in. They've had a great season.
So, one of their better teams.
Iowa State is a good team. That's going to be a really good game.
Yeah.
But I have Houston moving on.
All right. They're probably the strongest 3 seed in the tournament. I mean,
could be. I'm not giving. You'll see. I don't end up giving them quite that much respect.
Okay, all right. And then you got Kentucky against Abilene Christian against whoever's Wofford Seton Hall here. I think Wofford's pretty strong, for a
They're
team that a
ranked
lot
team.
of people haven't heard of.
Yeah.
And against the Kentucky team here that could go either way.
It's blue blood as it gets.
Yeah.
I think Kentucky is going to come out of that, but hats off to Wofford for a great season.
Right? Yeah. 29-4. I mean, that's a heck of a year.
It is.
Yeah. So now this is a pretty strong bracket here. UNC Auburn, that has the chance to be a pretty watchable game.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt. But I think UNC has too much for them. So we're going with UNC here.
All right.
And, excuse me, again, a very interesting matchup. But I'm sticking with the bluest of the blue blood and going with Kentucky here.
Yeah, this has the chance. If things play out up here in such a way, Kentucky has the chance to make a heck of a run to beat UNC, then Tennessee, then Duke for the championship. I'm just saying.
Obviously, we have a bit of a different narrative here, but
right. So what do you think?
I think here's where it ends for Kentucky.
That's not a bad pick. Yeah.
So we have our Final Four. And as you see, we have 3 ACC teams in the Final Four, or 4 ACC teams, actually, because FSU counts as ACC.
That's a thing.
Even though it's a little ridiculous that Miami and FSU are there, but that's a different story.
At least it's not West Virginia in the Big 12.
Right. Right. Yeah, good point.
All right, so we're into the Final Four now. We got a lot of heavy matchups here. I feel like one of these matchups is a little more even than the other. But what do we got with Duke and FSU
I think both
here?
are kind of even.
Yeah?
Actually, I mean, FSU played Duke very close twice this year. But I do think this is a big year for Duke.
Yeah.
So
I mean, Zion Williamson. I know he's been the ESPN darling all year, but he is 11 feet tall and has 6 arms.
He has earned it.
Yeah.
He is he's a transcendent player. He's amazing.
And so then here we've got UVA on their redemption run versus UNC on, just a normal everyday Final Four for them.
Yep.
Yeah, what do you think?
The redemption continues.
All right.
UVA.
And if this plays out, this has the chance to be a very, very good final matchup.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And they've played a couple times. I think Duke has won both, but they've been close.
Yeah, and they know each other.
They know each other. I think when it all comes down, Duke is too much. It's just Zion in particular is a transcendent player. The other 2 freshmen, Reddish and Barrett, are just amazing. They're all going to be like top 5 draft picks. They're amazing. So I think Duke. This is Duke's year as much as it pains a lot of us to say and to see. But I think this is Duke's year.
I gotta say, I'm pretty disappointed.
I'll note that my bracket, as you see, is kind of like my skin tone after 3 months of winter. Chalky. Very, very chalky. One more note, which I forgot to mention, the run over here where the run for Syracuse ended. For those few Syracuse fans around here, we do another book festival plug. Can we put a little book festival thing right here where my hand is? I think Etan Thomas has a book out about athletes and activism, and we'll be speaking at the Gaithersburg Book Festival. So another basketball-related reason to be at the book festival on May 18th.
That's, any book festival that has 2 basketball reasons to go, I mean, you're talking about getting everyone there.
It's a must-see.
That's excellent. Well, hey, thanks again for coming out.
Thank you, Nick.
Hopefully I don't lose so badly and you can do better as well.
And we want you to join.
Yes, so go to our website. We're going to have this on the bottom as well, after the book festival plug, of course. And you can join, see if you can beat the mayor. You'll definitely beat me, but we'll see you there.